Hey, good morning. Yes, it is. It is Tuesday, December 17th. Over halfway through the month, guys. And then almost into the new year. You've got Christmas and New Year's coming up for holidays. I'm very hopeful that you've had a productive year and that you're still above board. Because it's been hard. Let's all be honest about it. For the last 4 years, and I don't get into politics. I don't see any sense in arguing with anybody or fighting with anybody. To each their own, right? But I do feel that the next 4 years we're going to see a bump, and I remain hopeful that disposable income goes up, and if that goes up, we see more business because people are more willing to just say, "Look, I don't want to deal with it," and send it to us versus I don't have any money, so I got to watch YouTube and fix it myself, right? That's what we've seen in the past 4 years. You know, 4 years ago, it was kind of, wow, that's quite a drop. And then the following year was worse, and the following, and this past year, my health hasn't helped any, but it's been a continual drop. And I can't blame my customers because even I feel it the same way. I've had to look at things of can we do without it? And you do that when your disposable income drops. See, the way free market and capitalism works is our customers, if they have more disposable income, they'll hire us to do the things that they don't want to. And it's well worth it to them, right? And then in turn, we hire other people to do the things on other areas, right? Because we don't want to deal with it. But we're feeding businesses all the way around, right? And those businesses most often are very important to the community because most businesses give back. Whether it's in cash, whether it's, volunteering. I mean, with us, and I continue to, even though the disposable income has gone down for us as a business, I still support 2 scholarships for high school students. We still support the local church for the meals when it comes for Thanksgiving and Christmas. And we do a bunch of other things that we can help out people in need in our area. And that's what most businesses do. It's not all about them. They understand, as I understand, without the community support, you would be squat, right? And if that business helps the community when they're in need, the community will help that business because it's become very instrumental in their day-to-day lives. All right, enough on that. So yesterday we talked about how to become a dealer for the major brands. Now, what I see where you're coming from, Russ Bucket, and that is don't confuse becoming a low entry level dealer for these companies and having access to their parts to floor planning. Because all the OEM companies are going to try to get you to floor plan. And that's a whole different animal in itself. All right? And we're going to talk about that today. And that is floor planning and warranty. Those two, probably I should do floor planning and warranty on their own, but I'm going to try to tackle both of them today. But to become an entry level dealer, yesterday that was the main talking points. And as I brought up with Honda would not allow me to come in as an entry level. I had to buy on 5 of their engines. And that meant I was floor planning for Honda. Was the only way I could get Honda. And if it hadn't have been for the militaries, Coast Guard, Navy, Army, if it hadn't been for them and their needs, I would have told them to shove it up their ass. I'll be honest with you. But I had enough business just with the government entities to make it worthwhile. And what I can tell you is, out of those 5 engines that I had to buy, I sold 2 where I made a few bucks on it. But the other 3 I let go at cost just so I could pay that off. And that's the thing with floor planning is hang tight. We're going to cover that and more this morning. So hang tight. Alrighty, welcome back to the channel. My name is Eric, if you didn't already know it. And yes, today is the weekday, Monday through Friday. Today is Tuesday, December 17th. And yesterday we talked about entry level into a lot of these. The aftermarkets are the easiest because the only thing they require is they want you to have a shop. They want you to use their parts in your shop. They want you to install those parts. And with you installing those parts, they warranty them. If you're buying from them and you have a retail area, no matter how small it is, if you're selling to customers parts that you're getting from them, it voids the warranty. You can play that game of saying, well, I installed it, and this, I'm not good at lying. So we ended up, because we were selling volume, a lot of parts, whether it was aftermarket or OEM, on all the venues and our own shopping cart on our website. And what we end up having to do, because, again, I'm not into lying to anybody, and I had to come to the critical point of saying, okay, I know that the aftermarket companies and the OEM companies are only willing to warranty it if we install it in the shop. All right? Way over 90% of our income, our business, was online selling parts to customers. So the only way around it was, okay, I'll self-insure. I will self-warranty. So if we had a problem with, and the hard part is electrical, because if somebody installs it incorrectly, they can fry it, right? But we did case by case by case, all right? And yes, we at times got somebody's old part back instead of what we sent, wanting a full refund. But those were few and far between. But what we ended up doing was we became a self-warranty business. And that is, if something was defective or if the customer screwed it up, we as a business took care of it. And our customers became the good customers, realized what we were doing and appreciated that, because they would get instant of being taken care of. And that would be, let's say, a hydrogear hydraulic motor. They get it and there'd be some issue with it. And a lot of times the issue is, on a lot of these mowers, you have a left side and a right side. They're not the same. And the difference between the left and right, a lot of times, is how they're ported and how the hydraulic lines come in. And more than once, we would get a landscaping company that would order the right side when they need the left side. And we would get an email or a message from them saying, look, the unit doesn't work because I can't get my hoses hooked up. Well, the unit doesn't work because you ordered the left side when you needed the right side. What do we do with the landscaping companies that we have been doing business with? It was, I'm sending out the right side today. Box up the left side, send it back to me. And I'll give you credit for that. And by doing that, and they knew we were on their side, a lot of my landscaping companies said, look, Eric, if this is the left side, we'll just keep it and mark it left side and put it on our shelf, because most of the landscaping companies I dealt with were doing their own repairs. They had somebody mechanical in-house. Whether it was the owner doing repairs or they had a full-time mechanic, depending on the size of them. So they would just throw it on the shelf versus sending it back. And we had issues too with people not flushing the system and not changing out both drive motors if they had a central reservoir and a central pump. Manufacturers suggest you change out all of them, flush all the lines, filters, new fluid, 9 yards. You're looking at over $1,000 to $1,200 to do that. And a lot of the landscaping companies that were smaller were just swapping out one of the drive motors, if that's what went, and not doing the flushing, replacing the pump and the other Parker, And they would just ruin that pump from the shavings that were going through that system. Or ruin that drive motor because of the shavings caused from its predecessor, but it's still in the system. So when it comes to becoming a dealer for the aftermarkets, and there's a number of OEMs that will take you on, but they want you to buy so much in parts. And we talked about that yesterday. And the parts are usually crap that they can't sell. I've still got parts that came from my initial welcoming package of what they said would work and didn't work. They said would sell. These are our hottest sellers. To whom? This is you cleaning out your back room of stuff that is new old stock, that's antique. MTD was the worst with Cub Cadet and all them. The distributor for them sent 3 boxes of crap that cost me $1,500 to get hooked up and become a dealer for those parts. We paid it because a lot of times you got to pay to play, right? And we were trying to get as many parts online so that we were the main source for all of our customers' needs. Depending on, it didn't matter what brand they were talking. Yes, we are a dealer for them. We can get your parts and we will get them shipped quickly. And that's how we kept growing every year. The other way we kept growing every year is for probably the first 4 or 5 years, every bit of profit was reinvested. And what do I mean by reinvested? I mean, if we sold one of these, I would order 2. Okay? Because if that person needed that part, somebody else is going to need it. So I started reinvesting back into inventory to have it here to ship quicker. But then we started running into the problem of where do we put this crap? We're getting so much inventory that we don't even know how to find it, and we started setting up bins for the smalls and shelving for the bigger stuff. And then there came a point I mean, I'm thankful that I was able to see the writing on the wall with the Chinese when they were trying to come into the market, that I had stopped reinvesting and I started looking at downsizing and getting through the inventory, a lot of it that we had in stock. But whether you're a stocking dealer or whether you're just ordering it as you need it, you still have to have space, right? And if you're running a repair shop, it makes so much easier because you're covered underneath the warranty from all these places because they know that there's somebody hopefully qualified that's installing them, right? But floor planning is its own animal. I know we got off on a tangent. Floor planning is its own animal in that every OEM will try to get you locked in on selling their units, whether it's snow blowers, lawnmowers, push mowers, tillers, the whole 9 yards. And they're going to tell you, these guys that are sales reps are going to tell you of how great the models are that they're selling. You have to take into consideration these sales guys are getting paid based on numbers. And they're expected to reach a certain amount per month. And if they go over, they get extra bonus at the end of the year, okay? And if they don't, they get their pay, and sometimes their job is at risk because these companies are paying them to peddle their wares, right? So what may seem really nice in the beginning of having all these nice brand new shiny pieces of equipment out front to sell, or having some in the showroom, sounds appealing. That's putting you into debt. Honest to God. You know, years ago, even the car manufacturers did it. And that was these OEM companies owned the equipment. And they would put it in your showroom and out front. All right? But they still owned it. And as you sold that unit, one of the units, they would simply replace it and you send them the money for that unit. And any profit you made off from it, you got to put, as profit on the books. But things changed because they went through a span of where new stuff wasn't moving that fast. And that's what happens when disposable income goes down. People stop buying brand new crap. They try to get their old crap to get them through another season, right? This day and age, if you have an OEM company want to do floor planning with you, you are taking out a loan. And usually it's through GE Finance, is the one company that's big for the outdoor power equipment. And you are physically taking out a loan with GE Finance. You own that crap. You own that crap, just like if you went to your local Ford dealership and you bought a new Ford truck and you went through a bank. You own it. And you had that payment and you owe all this money on that truck, right? They're not just going to let you drive it around for free. And that's what it was like years ago, was you could have your whole front lot right full of nice shiny things to draw customers in. And, it also brought in people looking for parts and service and warranty and all that. But you own it. And you have to be very careful because it's this never-ending cycle. Because there are different levels, right, of where you're at. And the higher the level, the more equipment you're buying, the more debt you're going into, But the sales rep says, but you're paying less per unit. They're not saying, and being honest with you, they're saying you probably aren't going to sell a lot of these units. And what I found is the two other companies that do small engine repair that are bigger than I am, a lot bigger than I am, because I don't stock. I stayed away from that. I don't floor plan. And I got burned on preseason order with the aftermarket companies, where it puts you behind the eight ball. So I didn't do that anymore, and I don't to this day. If somebody wants a Cub Cadet 4-wheel drive, compact lawn tractor, can I get it for them? Absolutely. Are my profit margins going to be less than someone that has it on their lot? Of course. But that dealer's in debt, and hopefully we'll sell that unit. I don't have it here, but I can have it here within a week. So my line of logic is, when it comes to floor planning, I don't need to. I can pick and choose what things my customers are looking for and just simply order it for them. Because if you want to start getting into the commercial stuff, or you want to start getting into the compacts, and you want to start getting into the better units, it's not going to be Lowe's, Home Depot, Walmart. Those are cookie cutter stuff that they just hope will stand up to the test of time. And a lot of times it won't last 2 to 4 years. And then even worse now, the OEMs are discontinuing parts from 2 years out to 4 years and further, so that you can't fix those units because the parts aren't readily available unless you find somebody sitting on new old stock. That's sad, because it used to be, when I was selling a lot of parts, they even had the parts available for the old Troy-built rear tine tillers that were 30 years old. You could get anything you needed for that, whether it be the seals, bearings, tiller tines, you name it. Now you can't even get the parts for the brand new ones. Some are discontinuing them after 2 years, and the majority of them after 4. Why? Because China will figure out what's selling. And the dealers that are selling online, they watch. They have people. That's all that they do, is comb eBay, Amazon to see what is selling. And within 2 to 4 years, they will know what that is, and they will be selling and competing directly against the OEM dealers that are selling online. So what ends up happening is the OEM dealers, let's say, have to sell something for $26 with free shipping to make a couple bucks. But when the Chinese come out and they're selling it for $9.95 with free shipping, who are your customers going to buy from? So that ends up a backlog at the manufacturers of parts that they can't sell unless they take a hell of a loss on. That's why they're doing it. It's not that they want you to go buy new all the time. It's because they can't compete with China with the parts. So the only way they're making any money is, yes, they want you to buy new. Because after a couple of years, the Chinese have figured out how to make that part and sell it for a third of the cost. So the OEMs know they're going to get stuck with those parts. Even the aftermarket companies are being stuck with a lot of parts that they can't sell. But the thing with floor planning, the big issue with that is, if you sign on, say in the upper levels, where you're taking 30 lawnmowers and 30 snow blowers, but they're all different models maybe, or a couple of each, or this or that. What you don't want is at the end of the year, before you get your next preseason order, is to have units that you haven't sold. Telling you right now, you want to get behind the eight ball, do that. And if you've got units still in crates that are 2 to 3 years old that you aren't able to sell, what are you doing? Because to me, you're starting to run that business into the ground. A lot of your profit is sitting in those crates. Get them down. Get them to the mechanics that they put the tires on, decks on, everything. Or the snowblowers. Get them together. And at the very least, sell them at break even. Get them off the books. I'm telling you right now. Get them off the books. Because every year you do that and they're still sitting in crates on racks, stacked 4 tall out behind your shop, is that you start owing more and more and more. And next thing you know, you are in over your head, heavily in debt, your credit rating sucks, and that means you can't even go buy a vehicle because they're not loaning it and giving it to your business. You're the one signing as the guarantor, right? All right, so I'm going to start wrapping this up. I didn't figure I could get through floor planning and warranty in the same, because there's so much that I haven't said about floor planning that I could say. I could talk for half a day on just the issues with floor planning and the benefits. If you're in an area where you're close to a city and you're carrying a lot of push mowers, you may sell out every year and be looking for more. But the farther away you are from the city, the harder it is, right? And you're going to sell different crap. You're going to go from a push mower to a rider as you get farther out. Because as you get farther out, people have bigger yards. And they don't want to push it. They want to take and get it done with a rider or a zero turn. There are some pros to floor planning, but the cons outweigh most of it. You know, the pros to floor planning is you get better discounts with the more volume buy, the more volume you buy, and the more you have sitting out front. Is everything kind of at risk all the time? Yeah. You know, it's kind of like that feast or famine. You know, you're relying on cleaning out that inventory every year. And if you watch Tractor Supply, Lowe's, Home Depot, all those, at the end of the season, they do not want to stock and carry over a lot of that equipment. So you'll have them where they're so-called deep discounted, where these companies are at break even or just above, just so they don't have them on the books at tax time for the following year. And you have to do the same. If you have stuff in crates, get them the hell out of those crates, get them together, and I don't care even if you have to take a little bit of a loss on them. Clear them off the books. Make sure you don't have one model from last year hanging around. And you sure in heck don't want a 4-year-old model still sitting in a crate that you can't get parts for. You see what I'm saying? So when you approach this, you have to approach this with both eyes open. Do your own research. Look at the pros, look at the cons, and understand that anything that you do floor planning is just like taking a personal loan out at your local bank. You are responsible to pay it back, and the equipment that you are buying is the collateral. And as you sell that, you need to make sure that money is going back to GE Finance to get that debt down. On that note, you guys have a great Tuesday, and we'll see you here bright and early tomorrow morning where we cover warranty as a dealer. Thanks so much for watching, and you guys have a great day.